It's not connecting. We are connected. We're live. All right, good. And the reason being is that typically I go live and it's going to be on my smartphone. But this is so important. This came together yesterday, and I cannot stress this enough. If you actually visualize what I'm about to tell you, I'm going to tell you that it will change your life. And the reason is that a lot of people, they need the motivation. A lot of people, they need something that's going to get them excited. It's going to get people just getting to do things that they may not want to do, or they don't feel like it, or they need the motivation, or any other thing that comes into their mind, and they say, I know I have to do this, and I actually don't want to do this. I'll give you an example. I was talking to a guy, and we were coming out of the pool, and the guy comes up to me and he goes, your cap, your swim cap said Ironman. And I told him my story. I started earlier this year. It's season 1 of me starting. It's crazy and everything else. And he said he was reading a book right now called Unfucked, and it's an all right book. You know, it's pretty straightforward, but he was telling me one of the chapters that really hit him hard, which was to really just do the thing you don't want to do. And if you continuously do the thing you don't want to do, then you only are doing the things you may not want to do, okay? So some people take that as saying, well, you mean things that I don't enjoy? No, I'm talking about the number one thing if you're in sales is to make calls, or to follow up, or do presentations, or to pitch, or to close business. Okay? A lot of agents or a lot of salespeople, they'll just do paper pushing, or they'll answer emails, or they'll check social media. They'll do things that don't actually matter at all. And it's true. Pareto's principle is probably more extreme in business than in any other area. More extreme in sales, I should say, is that it's probably 90-10. In other words, 10% of the things that you do result in 90% of your business. And if you just do those 10% of things, then 90% of your business will continuously get bigger and bigger and bigger. Then you can hire. And then the things that you don't want to do, which is answer emails, social media, videography, copywriting, website design, whatever the case is, you can hire that out. Okay, but the problem is that myself included, for 10 years of my life in real estate, all I was doing was the easy thing. It was answering emails. It was doing follow-ups, or going on LinkedIn and sending happy birthdays or congratulations on your new job. So this is the thing. So if you think about this, visualize this with me, is that you have a moving sidewalk at an airport, okay? A moving sidewalk, it's not an escalator, it's just a moving sidewalk, okay? And if you have multiple ones, then you can enter and then you exit and you could go to your plane. If you enter and you keep on going and you keep on going each one, then essentially you're just going all the way down the terminal to the end, okay? Imagine a really long moving sidewalk. You have when you were born and when you're dead, okay? And that's essentially time. So you have a moving sidewalk. Obviously, it's not going that fast. It's going extremely slow, as in each time it goes, it's a day, or it's an hour, or it's a week, or it's a month, or whatever the case, and it's going really slow, but you enter at birth and you exit at death, okay? And that's essentially, when you have the dash on your tombstone, that's essentially the dash, okay? So if you imagine this, so you have the compound effect, which is by Darren Hardy. You have the slight edge by Mike Olson, I think is his name, or Jeff Olson. And essentially what they're saying is that you compound all these things. You have the one thing by Gary Keller, okay? But all they really focus on is just do the one thing. That's good, but if you can actually visualize that area through your life. So in other words, say you get on and the actual sidewalk, you're on the sidewalk. Imagine this is success. Imagine this is actually the one thing that you have to do every single day. For me, from 9 to 9:45, I do sales calls. I take 15 minutes off, and then from 10 to 10:45, I do sales calls. I take 15 minutes off, and then for another hour, I do follow-ups. So for 3 hours every single day, that's my one thing. I have a pitch tonight because of something that I did. In the same building, there's an owner that has been sort of avoiding me lately, but we've been in really good contact up until probably about 2 days ago. I said, I'm going to be in the building, would love to meet with you because I'm meeting with another owner. I would love to list both of those properties, okay? All of that all that came from the one thing, okay? Making sales calls, making follow-up. 8 times is the Harvard Business Review, which is, it's an inverse thing. Is as you contact people, the chance of actually making a sale goes up. The amount of people that actually contact is 80%, and then by the 8th person, or the 8th time, it goes down. So it's an inverse on them buying as opposed to them being contacted. So this is the thing. So when people say a compound, so you're compounding essentially your skills. So if I make a call today and I make a call tomorrow and I made a call yesterday, that's 3 days. It doesn't sound like a lot, okay? But essentially you're compounding your skills, you're compounding the consistency, you're compounding the habit, you're compounding your biology that says when I enter the office, I do the number one thing. So imagine that's a sidewalk and you get on on Monday and you're making calls. You make calls on Tuesday, you're still there. On Wednesday, you take a break. So then you remove yourself from the sidewalk. The sidewalk is still going. So essentially, the sidewalk to the end is still going, okay? You get back on, and then you make a call on Thursday, you make a call on Friday. It's still going, but now you're actually a little back, okay? So essentially what you're doing is, the more you're doing the one thing is the longer you're on this sidewalk. Okay, when you jump off, time doesn't stop. Time continues. That's the sidewalk. You being on the sidewalk that is moving essentially is the one thing. The sidewalk is continuously moving. So though you got off the sidewalk because you didn't do your one thing on Wednesday, Thursday still shows up. The sidewalk has continued. Okay, someone that made Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday is now a day ahead of you. Okay, then you get on, but they're still a day ahead of you. You get off on, say, the following Monday, and they've continued. Now they're 2 days ahead of you. And then imagine compounding that. They're 4 days ahead of you, then 7, then a month, then a year. And then imagine that. You're looking at the person in front of you who's a year ahead of you because they did the thing they needed to do for a year every single day. Time is still going. That's the thing, is that most people think because they didn't go to the gym that their body's going to be fine. One time, it's not going to be a big deal. You make it a habit where you don't do it. It's not like time stops. You check Instagram, it's not like time stops. Time is continuing, okay? This is the biggest concept, is that the longer you stay on that sidewalk, as it's moving, again, it's gonna go, whether you're on it or not. And then you're gonna have people along the way. So that's essentially the compound effect. So you get off on a Wednesday, your colleague actually made calls on Wednesday. It's Thursday, okay? You get back on maybe Friday, but they made Thursday and Friday. So now they're 2 days ahead. Follow the next week. That's the compound. And then that's it, is that they keep on going further ahead because, again, it doesn't stop. Time doesn't stop. And if they're still on it, making the calls, or they're doing the number one thing, that it could be health, it could be relationships, it could be anything. So the gap gets wider and wider. That's the compound effect. That's the visualization of the compound effect. And if you can get that, you're essentially saying, I want to be on that treadmill. I want to be on the treadmill or the moving sidewalk as many days as I can be on there. So what are the examples that should really come to your mind? Or what are the aspects that should come to your mind? It's all about the process. It's all about just being on the sidewalk. It's not about the outcome. Whether you make a sale or you don't make a sale, you still made the calls. You're still on the sidewalk. Whether you lifted more weights or you didn't lift more weights, or you ran faster or you didn't run faster, it's about showing up to the gym. You're still on the sidewalk, okay? If you don't go, you remove yourself, okay? And the compound effect continues the wrong way or the right way. So the more you can keep on doing the one thing, by staying on the time continuum sidewalk moving, the higher and the more compounding that you have over other people. And I'll just tell you right now, if you guys have any questions, I'll look at it. So long-term consistency, 100%. And I know this by two words that may actually hit you. So the question was long-term consistency over short-term intensity. There's three ways that you can actually do any kind of habit. The intensity, which is how hard do you do it? You know, are you just lifting just like thousands of pounds, or are you just doing a barbell of 10 pounds? You know, the duration, how long are you doing it? And then the consistency is how often do you do it? The number one thing that every single person of all of my triathlon books have talked about is that consistency is everything. I cannot tell you in my mind, when shit does not go right, when I get no leads, when business is going south, when clients are canceling or not moving forward or offers are falling through, all I have to say is just show up every single day. Tonight, if this guy doesn't like me or what I have to say and he doesn't sign the listing agreement, I still showed up. I still made the calls that convinced him to meet with me tonight. That's the process, okay? I can improve the process while I'm with him. I can't control the outcome. I can get better at making sure the outcome. Tom Brady doesn't win every single Super Bowl, doesn't win every single game, but he tries the best he can at the process, which is show up at practice, understand the team you're about to play, make sure that I'm dialed in with my nutrition, my sleep, and my team is all on board. The outcome, it could be a cold, rainy day. It could be a slipping of the ball. Maybe someone, a block is missed and I get sacked, I fumble the ball, they return it for a touchdown. I showed up at practice though. It stinks. You can't control that outcome, but you show up for the process. And the longer you're on that that moving sidewalk, which by the way, continues, it doesn't stop, it's time. The more you're on that, the more it compounds. So I hope that just visually makes a little bit more sense. If you guys have any questions, leave in the comments below, but visually that makes more sense because once you're on it, you can visually see that, oh wow, look at that person. He's been there, or he looks like he's a year ahead. And the reason being is that all those missed days that you hopped off because you're tired, you're sick, you're lazy, you weren't motivated, you didn't make calls, you did something else instead, and then you hop back on, someone else was still on there, even though they were tired, lazy, hungover, sick, and they showed up. So that you're looking and you're like, wow, they're like a year ahead of me. They're like 2 years ahead of me. And that's the compound effect. That's when you start seeing the change in yourself from other people, like your friends, like society, like competition, like your parents, like anyone else that you're saying, yeah, actually, I'm the beacon of light on exercise, on making money, on saving money, on being present, on breathing right, on eating well, having a holistic life. It's not about one thing. And then the last thing I'll talk about is that distractions are going to be more abundant in the future. It's the amount of distractions are only going to get worse, okay? They're not going to get better. So don't blame anything but yourself for allowing yourself to be distracted. There will be more shows, more gadgets, more interwebbed connectivity. There will be more things that people want you to, more subscriptions, more trips, easier access, easier buying power. That doesn't make you wealthy, okay? That's making someone else wealthy. That the amount of things that can distract you is unlimited. There are screens everywhere. They're all connected to Wi-Fi, and they all know who you are. So they are tailoring their content, their delivery, their message, their marketing, their sales to you. They know you, okay? So you have to unplug proactively. Maybe that's the next video, how I unplug proactively. One way is leaving my cell phone at work. It is incredibly freeing to leave my cell phone at work. I walk out into the world, I can't even tell you the feeling until you actually do it and you say, holy shit, this is amazing. This is amazing. I should do this more often. And that's what I want to do. I have it on my goal. I have a plan list. And the guy that works with me, Eric, I told him, I said, I'm going to Anaheim next week for a real estate conference for 4 days, Tom Ferry. When I come back, we're going to sit for an hour. I'm going to have my 6-month, my 1 year, my 5-year, and my 10-year plan. And it's completely malleable. I was on there yesterday for an hour, and I was looking at all these things that I have for what I want to do for Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4 next year. In 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024, 5 years, 10 years, 15, 20, 70, until I'm 70 years old. And I started deleting all these things. I'm like, these things don't matter. And it also reminded me that, what's important right now is probably not going to be important in the future. Social media last year was massive. Content was massive. My website was massive. Now I'm like, sales calls, closing business, meeting with owners, meeting with sellers, meeting with developers, meeting with buyers. That's my job, okay? And this is going to be a separate video, and I promise this will be the last thing, and I just wanted to make sure that you guys got this. So the goal is for someone to mention our name and associate work ethic. Yes, it's your identity. You want to have an identity-based habit. Go read the Atomic Habits. So essentially, this is the last thing I'll leave you at. This is going to be a separate video. But Eric, the guy that works with me, I told him, I visually said that here's your bookend of the days. You have your morning, you have your evening. Your morning, your evening. This is the bookends. You need to have these as structured as you can. These cannot be variables. These can't be like, what time am I going to wake up? What am I going to do when I wake up? What clothes am I going to put on? Am I going to go to the gym? Am I going to do anything? At night, should I look at my phone? Am I going to read? Am I going to meditate? What am I going to eat? These things should be structured. I do the exact same thing at the exact same time. Why? Because the rest of my day is a variable. The rest of my day takes my mind power. It takes my willpower. It takes me everything to make sure that I can close a deal or bring a deal back together. The rest, the bookends, the morning and the evening, need to be the exact same thing. You wake up at the same time, you do the same thing, it's healthy, you eat healthy, you go to the gym, you show up at work. That's where the variability starts. You go home. You don't watch TV, you don't go on anything, you don't plug in, you plug out. Your brain needs that variability that it had during the day to rest, so the next day it can show up again. So I'll make that for another video. Hopefully you guys have any questions, leave in the comments below. Have an amazing day, and as always, look forward to making some more videos. 1% better every single day. Stay on the moving sidewalk. That's all I could say. Just stay on there as much as you can, as long as you can. The duration and the consistency. Consistency is the biggest, then duration, then intensity. All right?